Protests in support of Palestine continue at university campuses across the United States despite a crackdown by police. Hundreds of students and teachers have been arrested over the past week. Well, Kristen Saloomey is live for us now at New York University. Kristen, I can see obviously there are protests behind you there. Just talk to us about what's been happening.
Yes, indeed. Last night, 133 students and faculty members were arrested at New York University in a plaza on the school campus itself. Today, hundreds of them, hundreds more have joined them. Those who were arrested, students and faculty, have returned to this park outside of the campus, just across the street from the campus, to resume their protests. They are calling for the university to close its campus. It has a satellite campus in Tel Aviv, Israel. They're calling for free speech to be protected on campus, which they say it wasn't last night. And they are calling for the university to divest of its assets in companies that profit from Israel's war in Gaza. So what we are seeing here today, again, hundreds, if not thousands of people joining this group of demonstrators to amplify their voice. Many of them showed up here with their faces covered by masks. I was told that they were nervous about showing their faces and being identified because of all the blowback that they are receiving for these demonstrations. They also denied that they're being hostile and that they are anti-Semitic. They just want to make their point to the university. Here's more of what happened here last night.
Police moved in after dark to arrest demonstrators at New York University, where over 100 students and teachers defied orders to leave a school plaza or face consequences. There were arrests at Yale University, too, dozens of them. These students and others across the country coming out in protest of Israel's devastating war on Gaza and in solidarity with Columbia University students. There, the so-called Gaza Solidarity encampment has been re-erected after the school called in police to arrest more than 100 students and dismantle it last week.
We demand that all
Columbia's faculty joined protesters to condemn the move. Initiated by the university president, who canceled in-person classes Monday to address security concerns.
The president's decision to send riot police to pick up peaceful protesters on our campus was unprecedented, unjustified, disproportionate, divisive, and dangerous.
They are outraged not only by the arrest, but also by President Manoush Shafiq's testimony before Congress, while conservative representatives called for Shafiq's resignation for not doing more to crack down on demonstrators. The school Senate, consisting of students, faculty, and administrators, is expected to vote to censure her as early as Wednesday.
It's very important for faculty to defend the university in the way that our president did not before Congress.
Student demonstrators, including Jewish student demonstrators, deny accusations of anti-Semitism. At Columbia University, they even stopped their protest to celebrate the first night of Passover. They describe their movement as peaceful and blame any antagonistic, inflammatory statements or actions on outsiders. From California's State Polytechnic University on the West Coast to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Emerson College on the East, the demands for school leaders are the same.
We want Emerson College, number one, call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Number two, to disclose all financial investments in Zionist organizations. Number three, to divest from those organizations. Number four, to drop all charges against students for disciplinary actions.
Attempts to silence the movement only amplifying its call. Kristen, Saloomey, Al Jazeera, New York.
Bassem Khawaja is a lecturer at Columbia Law School. He's joining us from New York. Thanks very much for being with us. What, in your interpretation, happened when these arrests took place?
So I and other faculty members were horrified last week as we watched 108 students get arrested on the South Lawn of Columbia University for standing in solidarity with the people of Gaza and asking Columbia to divest from the Israeli war there. It was appalling to many of us that the Columbia's president went straight to calling NYPD, New York Police Department, into campus without really trying to do anything to de-escalate first. This is a really outrageous step that the president went to. These are students who pay tuition to be here. They're in our care, and we should be protecting them and creating a space for free speech and freedom of expression, not calling police, riot police, to remove them from campus.
I'm reading here that the NYPD Commissioner, Edward Cowan, said that the students, quote, that were arrested were peaceful, offered no resistance whatsoever, and were saying what they wanted to say. What was the reaction, or are you aware of what the reaction was when the police arrived and what the interaction between the police and the students was?
Yeah, so I was at the protest about 30 minutes ago. The camp is back up. It's peaceful. There's students there talking, studying. It's the same as it was last week. There was really no justification for calling in riot police to remove protesters who are sitting peacefully on a lawn, not holding buildings, not disrupting classes, not preventing people from going to class, really just holding space and calling on the university to divest. So the fact that, in response to that, the school went straight to calling in the police is pretty outrageous. And it's why more than 100 faculty members from Columbia walked out of class yesterday to protest this reaction. It's why the president of the university is currently facing a censure vote. And it's also why the New York Civil Liberties Union, our own Human Rights Institute here at Columbia, have all condemned the fact that the president went straight to the police here. We should also note that it's not just the police. The university has also suspended these students without any kind of due process. Many of the students have been evicted from their dormitories that they pay for. Some given just 15 minutes to gather their belongings. And so overall, it's been a draconian, punitive response to these protests in a situation that really doesn't merit it. There's no justification for this when students are really just sitting on a lawn doing their homework.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that the encampment had been timed because there was a congressional testimony that was being given by the Columbia president, Minouche Safik, that was taking place the same day that, on the university's response. She was going to be talking about the university's response to anti-Semitism. Now, those congressional hearings, as we've heard in the past or seen in the past, can be very tense. They can be very, certainly the educationalists can be held to account significantly. Do you think that that has in some way influenced the decision by the faculty to bring in the police?
So to be clear, there, it was not the faculty that brought in the police. It was the university president. The faculty did not support this move. The student senate, Columbia Senate did not support this move. And so it was a unilateral decision made by the president against the wishes of many faculty to bring in the police here. It is true that the camp came up on the day that the president was testifying in Congress. I should note that this follows months and months of actions from students to push the college, the university, on this issue. So it's not something that just started last week. This is student organizing that's been happening for many months now and has now culminated in an encampment that the students are holding. I think students were disappointed that the president, in her remarks to Congress, did not push back against accusations of anti-Semitism from students, did not really try to, create a distinction between hate speech and promotion of human rights. And so there's a lot of anger, I think, right now on campus for the actions of the president.
Let me interrupt you very quickly.
Here.
Forgive me for interrupting you, but I mean, thanks for the clarification that this was a unilateral decision made by the president. It used to be that universities and schools and colleges were supposed to be hotbeds of protest. That was part of the educational process. It was part of a student life. How concerned are you, do you think, given what you've gone through and what the students are going through, that this will have an impact on the confidence that students might have to hold protests like this?
I think it's very dangerous infringement on what is really a proud culture of protest and a proud history of protests here at Columbia and in many universities around the country. And as we've seen now, it's not just Columbia, but there's protests and campuses popping up in universities around the country. Anytime police are brought in to crack down on students like this, it of course chills free speech. To the students' credit, they don't seem to be backing down and are back out on the lawn, really within the same day that the original encampment was shut down.
Bassem Khawaja, we appreciate your time, so thank you very much indeed.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.